Hey, today you're going to get to meet Deena and Terry. Yes, they moved up here to Idaho, and they did not use the movers that have so many of our other clients have used that we really recommend. You're going to get to meet those movers and learn a little bit about them, and you're going to get to meet Dennis, who actually did use those movers, and hear how his experience went. So let's get to it.
There are moving companies that will scam you any way they can, including, I'm going to just say the names. We did have a rough time getting here, though.
What did you guys do? What'd you learn?
We learned a whole lot.
I don't ever want to move again. That's it.
Yeah. No, we're here for good. What people have to realize is that
shade.
there are moving companies that will scam you any way they can, including, I'm going to just say the names, including the pod company. They're not as low as they say they're going to be. They charge you for every single item, every single move, bringing the pod trucks in, dropping them off, every little item they charge you for. Mm-hmm. And it adds up really, really quickly. So we didn't go that route. What we did, and I did, was I started getting information from different movers. And once movers find out that you're moving, they start hassling you and calling and calling. And you even gave us the name of a company.
And now you get to meet Valley Custom Moving. Great people right here in Nampa, Idaho. They've helped out so many of our people. And, well, let's just hear it from them.
McCombs with Valley Custom Moving.
And I'm Joshua Rumpel.
And so we started in 2019, and then we have grown exponentially ever since.
And I did check on them, and I wish we had listened better to them, but all the prices we were getting were very high, which we were really surprised about, because they go by pound and they go by size of the truck, which we didn't know any of this because we hadn't moved for 25 years. Right. Cubic feet, I think. Yeah. The amount of space. And so I kept calling and calling, and there was one company that outbid all the other 15 companies. So I narrowed it down to like 6 companies and then 4 companies. And the one company that we went with, which was a mistake, and I'm going to tell people to stay away from them. They said they were from California, from Ontario, California. They were not. And you also want to know the difference between a broker and what's the other one called? The actual actual moving company. You don't want brokers, and you have to be careful of the fine print, which was my mistake. They farm out to other companies, and that was my mistake because how many of us read small print? You know. Especially when they have it covered up and they say sign here, and I didn't know what I was signing. And as seniors, they take advantage of you and they say, oh, we're going to beat this person's price and we're going to beat that person's price, and everyone starts calling you and harassing you to the point where you start getting really stressed. Right. So this one company, and the guy's name was Abe, and he said, we're in Ontario, and we have storage for you for free for a month. And I thought, well, that sounds really good. And all the prices that we were getting he was the least expensive. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, can you guarantee me this and this? And I was asking him like specific questions. They wanted me to write down every little item that we were gonna move, and we were packaging everything ourselves, except for the heavier stuff that we thought they can do themselves.
We had to number the boxes and give them the size, like small, medium, and large, and we put numbers in every box.
We labeled everything.
We had boxes in the garage, so many boxes you wouldn't believe.
And we videotaped everything.
The whole story, it'd take forever.
No, it would. Yeah. But anyhow, this company is called Golden Gate Relocation. Okay. And what we found out, they are not from California. And we found this out through the lawyer we're going through. because they ended up charging us double what they asked us, what they told us.
I won't get into details.
No, I'm not going to.
But they didn't tell you it was going to be double until after they had all of possession of all your stuff?
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah.
And that they...
And we'd agreed to
and
use
we had
them.
signed the papers. We never got initially, we had to do it through, if you do it through a credit card, they charge you 8% of whatever your fee is going to be. And we didn't know this because going into it, and I have the original notes and stuff I took, they gave me a price. And then I said, well, what if I want to add to it or take away from it or whatever? And they said, well, we'll allow for that. And oh, I'll only charge you an extra $500 or whatever. And then like for a china cabinet, which we ended up selling or giving away. So when I kept trying to call, as it was getting closer to what we wanted our move date to be, the phone kept ringing and I couldn't get an answer. And then all of a sudden I got a phone call from somebody named Whitney in Florida. And she said, oh, well, that guy he had to go on leave because his mother was sick or something like that. Well,
but she said that he had no authority to make promises to you.
right.
The only promises were supposedly in writing on the contract.
But this was all oral.
And so all of this stuff is
So his
ugly.
prices were beating everybody's, including more than one from Idaho and all the other ones that we had looked at. And so I kept thinking, okay, that's good. So over the phone, I had to do it through my credit union. I gave them because I had to split it up into two payments. And they said, okay, and we'll have a big enough truck because I videotaped everything we wanted moved. And he gave us a price. And I said, okay. And we gave him, I thought, half of what the price was going to be. Well, when they got there a day early, which we didn't even know they were coming that day.
That was a
And
total fiasco.
yeah, and we were like, what? You're not supposed to be here till October 23rd, and they came October 22nd, and they said, you can't have a specific date unless you pay more money. So I said, well, you didn't tell us
Keeps
that.
getting more interesting, yeah.
And then they started just taking stuff out of our house. We said, okay, well, I guess we'll just sleep on the floor tonight.
Which we ended up doing.
Yeah, and they pushed everything into the smaller truck, and then I realized we went out and we started kind of videotaping it. They weren't going to get everything into the smaller truck.
Right.
So they said, well, we need to call our boss. And what was this guy's name? Dennis?
I forget, but
and Abe
what they
was the
said
boss.
was that we or they underestimated by about 25% on the amount of items, supposedly, so then they jacked it up some more and just kept doing that. And they did not have enough room in that truck.
No,
I think they said
they were breaking
23
things as they pushed
cubic
things in.
yards instead of 27. It ended up, and we got rid of a lot of stuff too. We just figured, why move all this heavy stuff? You know?
Right.
But
We
so
got
it
rid
turned
of
out
all of
to-
our living room furniture.
Turned out to be a total
everything.
nightmare, is what it happened.
So they said they were going to come back with a bigger truck the next day. Well, they didn't. They came back with another small truck.
Well, like it was a rental, wasn't it? Like a
Yeah.
giant bobtail type truck.
Yeah.
Not a truck.
And he came back and said, well, my boss is going to charge you $4,000 or $5,000 more because we didn't know that you had that much stuff. I said, well, I videotaped and gave you as, live.
Right.
And so to make a long story short,
It turned out to be a nightmare.
he said,
It was
well, if you
just
give
a
me
nightmare.
$2,000 more in cash right now and sign this paper, I won't tell my boss.
Oh my gosh.
And
just
so
awful.
That is
Just-
shady.
he said otherwise,
It was
it was very shady. And he was covering the paper so I couldn't even read what I was signing. And that was my mistake. I should have said, let me see it. But what he was showing me was a copy of a copy, and it was very illegible. You couldn't read it anyhow. And that was my mistake again. But I signed it. I checked it off, but I was checking off that it was going to be by pound, 60
weight.
cents by weight, and not by what the
Guaranteed.
item was.
It was
and that
guaranteed by weight, not by the value of the items.
right, like
So if you have
jewelry
a
or stuff like that.
$5,000 diamond ring and it disappears because they stole it, You get
Which
10
is what
cents for it,
happened.
which is the bottom line for us.
Yeah.
And everything. It just,
Really?
and they
Yeah.
disappeared about $9,000 worth of property.
Or damaged.
They disappeared a box spring, a mattress, and a headboard,
For a guest room.
and a barbecuer. Stuff just disappeared. It just never showed up. It was like unbelievable. And there was a bunch of other stuff that we just, it's hard to keep track because we didn't make we had a list of all the boxes and I label what's on them, but if the box isn't there, I don't remember everything.
Right.
A lot of things were taken or broken.
so
We had antique
unbelievable.
furniture that we still have a little bit of it in
Oh,
the
they
garage.
damaged a bunch of stuff.
That
too,
was
a lot
very,
of
very
damage.
old.
So
Like-
then once you got in and you got your stuff, you saw damage and missing, so you filed a claim and then they paid you
Yes.
back, right?
No, they
Right.
offered us $75 for $9,000 worth of damage or stolen property.
Because it was by weight.
Right.
Yeah, and
So
our
we
son
got
listed
really
everything. We took video of
shafted.
everything. We have a video of everything.
Oh my goodness.
And so they said we had 9 months to file the claim. Well, we've done that since then. And we said, we're not accepting your $75. That's ridiculous. So we have gone to a lawyer. We did file with the police in Murrieta, California, and we filed here. They told us what we have to do is go back to our old insurance company from our old house to see if we had
homeowner's
our
policy.
homeowner's policy.
See if they would cover
Because
it.
it's different, the one here, and we had just gotten into the house. They had our furniture and all of our items for 2 weeks, supposedly in Ontario. We don't know if that's the case or not. And, you know, then the day that they were supposed to move us in, we get a phone call from this Whitney lady who had been
Oh, yeah.
so sincere and so kind and nice to us. And that day, she was extremely rude to us and said, you either pay us the rest of the money or we're keeping your furniture for 30 days, all your stuff for 30 days. And, you know, we're seniors. We didn't know any of this because last time we moved, which was 25 some years ago, we moved ourselves. We were younger and healthier.
We
so
moved
they-
locally, though.
and
too.
we moved locally.
It wasn't this far.
So, and we had rented our trucks. We had done all of it ourselves.
Right.
So, or had friends helping us. But this was a big out of state move. So for people thinking of moving, you need to check all your boxes and check everything because this was our mistake that we've learned from.
That lady basically blackmailed us into paying extra money right at the end because they wouldn't bring our stuff.
Right.
And,
She said, "We're
as
just
soon
not
as I
gonna
sent the
deliver."
money, 10 minutes
yeah.
later, they showed up at our house with two
Yeah.
trucks.
Yeah,
One
Just
truck, the people that were from
almost
here,
like an extortion racket.
Yeah.
I swear.
they were. One truck showed up and they were from here and they were very nice and they stayed to help us with the mess that the other truck, we don't even know who they were or what happened, but all of a sudden they said, okay, we're leaving now. And we knew that our stuff was in the other truck that they took off with. Because I kept saying,
We don't know where it went.
yeah, we
we're
said,
just
where's our
guessing.
other
We don't know.
bedroom set, our guest bedroom set?
How do you
Where is
lose
this?
that
Where
much
is
stuff?
that?
I mean, that's
Yeah.
And then
not
I
all
said,
of it, it's just
you
part of
know,
it.
and then they damaged our curio cabinet that fell over. They didn't put it back together. We didn't know it, and it fell and damaged our
glass-
brand new. The glass fell.
the glass fell out of the door, so because of whatever they did when they moved it.
to a brand new
Then it
house.
gouged the floor, brand new floor in the new house. We had to have somebody come and fix that, and just
And they
it
damaged
just
some
on
paint
on
and some
on.
walls were damaged.
Right.
I'm so glad we're beyond that.
Yeah,
Yay.
it was horrible. And so
And
for people out there wanting to move, yes, move. Idaho is we love it
I'm going to
here.
put my coat on.
And we would
It's
do it
getting cold.
again for sure. You have to be aware that there are scammers out there.
So now that you've listened to Deena and Terry, you kind of have some ideas of things to look out for, right? Well, here's some comments from Valley Custom Moving. See how those would make you feel compared to what Deena has just been telling us about their experience.
So we do everything big and small. We'll, as far as we do deliveries, we do antiques, we do arts, we do residential moves, a little bit of commercial, but mostly residential moves and arts and antiques.
Okay.
So you do pull in long distance moves then?
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of a big priority of our business.
And we have what's called valuation insurance, and it's based on the price of the item. So say you had a $10,000 item, we would take that item and multiply it by this much, and then that item would be covered at 100%.
So it's everything that we do, we blanket wrap everything. That's furniture based. Whether it's wood, whether it's metal, whatever that it might be, we blanket wrap it entirely. We stretch wrap it, and then it goes out of the home that way, and it goes back into the home that way to make sure it arrives in the exact same condition as we pick it up in. So we have a storage warehouse here for customers that are in between. That's actually kind of the big purpose behind here. With us doing a lot of long distance moves, we're having quite a bit of customers that are building a home, and then from that home, they're Airbnb-ing it for a while because they got out of their home elsewhere. So in the meantime, we'll store them here, keep them for 3 to 6 months, something like that, and then deliver when the home's ready. Josh and I are always available, even if we're not on jobs. We're available for the guys. We'll do a FaceTime with them if they're on a piece that's a little difficult. And we're available for the customer. A customer at any time can be like, hey, is it okay if I talk to the owner? And that for us is not a problem. It's not one of those like, oh, so-and-so wants to talk to us. We're happy to do it. We want to be involved.
If you're looking to come into the Valley and have the same people that moved you, packed you up, and brought you here, unload you, because they know how your things were packed and stacked in the truck, and they know how to take them out safely. You're not just going to get some day laborers. You're going to get people that are experienced and know what they're doing, and they're going to be supervised by somebody who has even more experience. So you're going to get quality.
For personal friendly service, you want to give Valley Custom Moving a call. We're I would say, one of the most experienced in the field up here, just because of how long we've been in the area.
If you're looking for someone who cares about what they're doing and wants to make sure that their customers are satisfied, and also looking for a local business, we are all of those things. A local small business. So
locally small, Idaho, family owned.
And now here's Dennis. Dennis is great. Dennis is now a local star. We like Dennis. Dennis, how was your experience using Valley Custom Moving?
Hired the moving company, which is Valley Custom Movers, I believe is the name. They were fantastic. They helped me move up here, and then when my house was finished and I needed to move from my rental to my new home, they moved me again.
Wow.
Yeah. So I called them up, told them, I told them, I said, everything in the garage is where you left it. And they had me moved in about 4 hours the second time. The actual move, having the movers come out, load up the truck, and head for Beverly Hills, no, I'm just kidding, and move up here was actually almost a relief.
And, moving yourself, renting a truck, loading all that stuff. Oh, watch your back. There's some actual risk involved with that. I just saw this recent post from where I used to work over at the Vacaville Police Department, and they shared this story. They said, imagine this. You're in the middle of moving. Your life is packed into a moving van. You stop to rest at a hotel for the night, and by morning, the van, number one, is gone. Broken glass remains where everything you own once sat. Continuing, the nightmare became a reality for one unsuspecting victim until our incredible community service officers stepped in. So this story ends pretty well. I mean, they found the van and got some of the stuff back, but what a hassle. I mean, you're trying to get someplace, and I'm going to guess it probably doesn't always work out this way. So there's a lot of people out there moving. You think the crooks know that? I'm pretty sure they do. They know where that you're going to be staying overnight, and you're not going to be out back to your truck for a good 6-8 hours. It's just golden opportunity. So there is risk in doing it all on your own. So a big thanks, big shout out to Deena and Terry and our friends over at Valley Custom Moving, and also Dennis, our local celebrity. Your stories, I really hope, are going to educate some people that are trying to go through this process themselves and give them some ideas and maybe some direction on things that they should be doing or doing different. And you know, if you guys are loading up a truck to move up here to the Treasure Valley, give me and Marina a call. We'd be glad to help you. Give us a text, email, it doesn't matter. Go to our website and check out all the great resources we have, and also check out some of the other videos I have right here on our YouTube channel. Down in the description, I'm going to put the links to the full Deena and Terry interview, and also that one with Dennis. And then also check out this video right here, or is it there? With the Valley Custom Moving guys, and see what you think about them. It's pretty good. Well, until next time, we'll see you guys on the next video.